Welcome back everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Builds, and today we're dealing with the 2020 Automobili Pininfarina Battista. Now this still has its standard output in terms of a horsepower and torque, so 1,845 horsepower, 1,695 pounds-feet of torque from its 120 kilowatt-hour series of batteries, which power 4 individual electric motors. The car itself now weighs 3,615 pounds. Has off-road tyres and off-road suspension to go with its all-wheel drive system, and it can earn a 0 to 60 in 2.341 seconds, 0 to 100 in 3.773 seconds, and going to a top speed of 286 miles an hour. But yeah, as per usual with a car of that kind of speed, we're not going to be going up to that kind of speed on this series, but still, it's nice to have that bit of leeway. And yeah, the only other car that we have this to really compare against is the Lotus Evija, which again is another high-powered all-wheel drive electric hypercar, and that managed 3 minutes 14.055 seconds. And this does have some stats on its side. The braking, the launch, acceleration and speed are all really well be good. Off-road capability is decent for a car that is obviously not meant for going off-road. The handling is the only real letdown, but hopefully the brakes can help keep that handling in check, because yeah, this still does obviously weigh a lot, but it's also extremely quick. You know, you're not going to find many cars that weigh this kind of amount that are able to do 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 in the speed that this is able to do it in. But yeah, so that's why we need those brakes to help keep the momentum in check, because this is going to have a lot of it at weighing as much as it does. And yeah, it's obviously got all of that horsepower and all of that torque pretty much immediately there. Not going to struggle at all for speed. As you can see, we can easily get in a bit of a mess quite quickly. So really got to be careful. It's even harder when you can't really hear what the car's doing, because it's electric, doesn't make much noise. So what feels like maybe 100 miles an hour ends up being more like 170 miles an hour. So yeah. But thankfully, obviously, the all-wheel drive system is native to the car, so that's not something extra it's going to have to deal with. It's got no extra power or torque to deal with, which is again going to help it. But obviously, it's out of its comfort zone. It's dealing with off-road tyres, and the off-road suspension is obviously going to change how the body control and the centre of gravity. Shouldn't change it too much. Yeah, it's really ridiculous how quickly something like this can get up to speed, even in its normal, setup with the normal amount of weight. It's still ridiculously quick. So yeah, even though we're not going to be as quick as we would be with the slick tyres on road, these off-road tyres are obviously needed to help deal with the off-road conditions. But for a car of its weight and reasonable size, it's still quite nimble. It just gets sometimes out of control, especially when bouncing up in the air and you've got no braking or steering to really play with. So it's one of our rewinds used up. Still have 2 more though. Yeah, easily getting up to more than 160 just in that short space of time there. Final tricky bit. Again, getting to really rather high rates of speed. Also just on the edge of controllability as well. Final corner coming up. And we've beaten the Evija. I think that means we're the fastest electric car that we've had on this series so far at 3 minutes 13.646 seconds. Not a huge amount ahead of the Evija, it's only less than a half a second ahead, but that is still really rather quick. But yeah, it's not the fastest electric car that we've had, because I forgot that we had the Rimac Nevera, which again is another high-powered hypercar, all-wheel drive, ridiculous amounts of power. So yeah, we're not quite as quick as that car. I do believe the Rimac Nevera is actually slightly lighter than this. If not, it's mostly probably down to the controllability of that car, because yeah, at the end of the day, this is I think a rebodied version of another car that we've had on this series. I struggle to remember whether or not it's a rebodied version of a Rimac Nevera or a Lotus Evija, but yeah, regardless, being a a rebodied version, it's not going to have this bespoke handling and controllability that a Nevera or a Evija will have. But still, that is a really good time. And yeah, it becomes our second fastest electric car that we've had so far. Also means that it's beaten the likes of the Ford XB Falcon GT, the Mercedes-Benz SL65 AMG Black Series, MG Metro 6R4, another electric car in the form of the GMC Hummer EV pickup, as well as the BMW iX xDrive 50, as well as, what other electric cars have we had? The Extreme E X44, which is again an off-road vehicle, but actually meant for going off-road, in terms of its being an electric car, as well as a Lucid Air Sapphire. So yeah, second fastest electric car that we've had on this series so far, which again is by no means a bad place to be. It's just a shame that the controllability wasn't really there for all of the time, and it did get out of control at times as well when bouncing up and down. So yeah, that was a little bit of a shame, but still, it's more than been able to put in a good time despite any of its setbacks. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.